Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a story. So while Chief was here moving dirt around and filling in my backyard, I made him my favorite Dominican rice dish. Now I've made this dish on video here before. However, ladies and gentlemen, I have a new way of making it that is the easiest way that you can possibly make it. All right, so stay tuned. Anyone can make this dish and have it come out just as good as anyone else if they do it this way. So anyways, I made him this dish. He took some home. I had him take some home because he had already eaten lunch by the time that I made it and asked him if he wanted some. So I made him this. I made him a to-go plate. He took it home and he came over the next day and he said that he had left it on the counter and that by the time that he got to it, his wife, Melody, had eaten most of it. And that she wanted to know how I made this. So I said, you know what, Chief, let me go ahead and do a video because I have a new way of doing this and it's a lot easier than the traditional way. That way anyone can do this. So Melody, this is for you. And this is going to be so easy that I hope that you try it and enjoy it making it yourself. With this rice dish, you can use any legume that you would like. I love green pigeon peas or gandules. I love those. Those are the ones I'm going to use for this dish this time. However, you can use black beans. You can use pinto beans. You can use chickpeas if you like. You can use any legume that you would like. Unfortunately, I know that some of you are going to say, but why did you drain it? Unfortunately, to do it this way, for it to come out best, you need to drain your legumes. So I already drained my green pigeon peas. As far as spices go, this may look like a lot, but it's really not. These are very easy spices to find, and most of you probably already have these at home. Let's go ahead and start off with my favorite, of course, ladies and gentlemen. This right here is about a teaspoon of adobo, right here. Now, if you don't have this at home, you can find this pretty much anywhere. Go to Walmart or go to any supermarket to the Hispanic aisle, and you should be able to find these. If not, Amazon does sell them. About a teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of pepper, ground pepper. There's about a tablespoon of dehydrated onions. There's about a teaspoon of granulated garlic. There's about a tablespoon of the Oxen Farms dehydrated bell peppers. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a full tablespoon of 46-year-old tomato crystals. However, if you can't find any 46-year-old tomato crystals, you can just go ahead and grab some of the Oxen Farms tomato powder. If you don't have Oxen Farms tomato powder, you can substitute about 2 ounces of tomato paste. And in the middle here, we have some sazon goya, which is this right here. That's it for all the dry seasonings. For our wet ingredients, we have some olives. If you like olives, you don't have to put these in there if you don't like olives. We have some capers that really do give it that traditional Hispanic flavor. And we have some cilantro, which came out of my little garden that I'm growing out back that I have in grow bags. And this is fresh and it smells delicious. This is all you need. In addition, you're going to need a flavor neutral oil in order to get started. So what we're going to do now is this. We're going to shift over to the frying pan and I'm going to show you what I do. Before I do that, let me show you what makes this the easiest way to cook this dish. Ladies and gentlemen, this rice is leftover rice from some rice that I made last night. Okay? It's already cooked. So all I did was I took it out of the pan and I crumbled it to make sure that it was nice and loose. And this is the rice that we're going to use. So you're not going to have to start out with raw rice. This rice is already cooked. A good practice to have, especially if we find ourselves in a crisis situation where we have to cook for several days on the cheap, is to make a big pot of rice in the beginning of the week and then make recipes like this, like the one that I'm going to teach you how to make right now with some of the rice that you cooked in the beginning of the week. That way you don't have to use so much fuel to cook the rice from scratch every single day that you use it. So now let's go ahead and head on over to the frying pan. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start out with about 2 tablespoons or so, 2 or 3. Right there is about 2 tablespoons or so of a flavor neutral oil. And we're going to bring it up to heat. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now that we've got it up to a pretty decent high heat, we're going to put in all of our wet ingredients and just be careful Make sure that nothing splashes on you. Then we're immediately going to go ahead and put in our legumes, whatever kind you're making. And you're just going to let that heat up there for a second or two. Or more, for like a minute, ladies and gentlemen. And this is still on high heat. One thing I forgot to tell you is you're going to need about a half a cup of water. Now, the reason that I don't like to use the liquid from the beans or these gandules is because it's pretty starchy and it tends to bind the rice together, making it more sticky than not. And I prefer to have my rice not be very sticky when I'm having this dish. This is traditionally done with long grain rice, but I like using the cow roast rice, which is already sticky to begin with, so I didn't want to add any more stickiness to it by adding the juice from the legumes. Now we're going to go ahead and put all of our seasonings in there all at once. We're going to bring our temperature down a bit so that we can marry all of this together. And it's going to turn really like into a paste, really. It's going to look like a paste. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We're almost done, believe it or not. So now, when it gets to be like this, where everything is mixed in together, what you're going to do is you're going to bring your temperature back to high, and you're going to put in your half cup of water. Then you're just going to mix everything around. And as you can see, everything is starting to combine together. And this is going to come out delicious, ladies and gentlemen. You know how I know? Because I've already made it before. You all know that. And look at this. We're almost done. So once this starts to come up to a boil, you see how the liquid is starting to come up to a boil? Now we bring the temperature down. Okay? Now we start adding in our rice. Let me show you. So what you're going to do is you're going to put all your rice in there. Just be careful. Don't let it splash on you. You're going to put all of your rice in there in one shot. Don't be shy, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope that those of you that haven't tried this, try it. Like I said, you don't have to do it with green pigeon peas. I know that Melody, Chief's wife, really enjoyed them and she's never had them before. So if you've never tried it, find yourself a can somewhere and try this recipe. I really think that you'll enjoy it. Now all we have to do, ladies and gentlemen, is fold everything in. You're going to keep folding everything in until the color is kind of even all the way throughout. And at the same time, remember that you have to make sure that you bring your heat down to low. Now this is a dish that you can have pretty much with anything. The way that I plan on having this tonight for dinner is by cooking up 2 eggs over easy and putting them on top of the rice. And you see what I mean about not putting the juice in there from the pigeon peas? It would have ended up making this rice really sticky. Now, once we have everything together, pretty much, there's still more folding to do. But once it's to this point, you can bring your heat about to medium heat. And that'll help to separate the rice even more by helping to evaporate out some of the water that I use to bind everything together. And as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, most of the ingredients that I used were ingredients that I got out of my pantry. Right? With the exception of the cilantro, everything was out of my pantry. Meaning that all of those ingredients are ingredients that you can store for long term. And they last a very long time when properly stored. Now, rice is probably one of the most easiest, if not the easiest, grain to store for long term. And you know that canned goods will last a long time past their best by date. So this is something that I plan on eating when the SHDF happens and the apocalypse is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe not. Maybe after the thinning out has occurred, because I'm sure that a lot of people would be able to smell this from far away. All right, ladies and gentlemen, check this out. We're almost done. We are almost done, ladies and gentlemen. You know what this means? This means that this is a dish that as long as you have the rice pre-cooked, you can make literally in less than 15 minutes. All you have to do is get those few ingredients out, you know, those spices out, get your oil hot, put them in there, do exactly what I've done, and look at this. This is just about done. So we are literally going to be able to make this in less than 15 minutes, from start to finish. You can't beat that, ladies and gentlemen. Now, ask yourselves this question. If you're still participating in the rat race, and you get home late one night, and you have to cook dinner for your family, or even if it's just for yourself, would you rather eat something like this, or would you rather get a number one at McDonald's? Right? I would pick this every day. I would pick this every day. This is a 15-minute ordeal right here. And I still have this on medium to high heat, and I'm just going to keep it on medium to high heat for about another minute or so. And then let's go ahead and plate it. And I'm dying to tell you what it tastes like. Now, ladies and gentlemen, look at that. That looks delicious. At least it does to me. And this right here is the very last tomato out of my arrow garden. I'm letting the tomato plant there die out. I actually turned it off and it's dying out because it's not producing anymore. And that's the last little tomato that I had. Now, ladies and gentlemen, something that I do with this every once in a while, I didn't do it this time, but every once in a while, I add, while I'm mixing this in the pan, I add about 1/4 of a cup of raisins. And I mix it in with everything. The reason I don't do it every time is because I really like it when I do that. And I don't want to get used to it so that it won't be anything special, you know? So I really like it. It doesn't ruin the meal. It makes it better because 1/4 cup is enough so that you maybe bite into a raisin every 2 or 3 spoonfuls. And it gives you a very small burst of sweetness along with the savory flavors that are in this dish. Now, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, less than 15 minutes. And look at that. You know I have to give it a taste test, right, ladies and gentlemen? So I can tell you what it's like. And ladies and gentlemen, what can I say? This is delicious. I mean, this is so good. This brings me back to my childhood every single time that I have it. And it is just so easy to make, so inexpensive to make. And it will feed a family of 4. That recipe that I showed you will feed 4 people a bowl this size, which is a great meal. I don't even think I'm going to have the eggs on top of this. I'm just going to have it like that because it's that good. All right, Melody. Now it's up to you to go out there and make it. All right? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining in. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. This is Last Prepper. I'm out.